Now, this video today is going to be based more for the teenage, so from 15 to 24. But this video maybe you might find helpful. Today's topic is going to focus on how to date and live with an STI. What you're probably thinking is, what exactly could be a potential of why I'm talking about this certain topic? Well, for those who do not know, the CDC pretty much states that about 20 million people are newly infected with an STI every year. Yes, 20 million people. That includes both ones that we can technically get rid of, but also those that are incurable. The first one we're going to introduce is syphilis. The second curable one is gonorrhea. Third is going to be trichomoniasis. And the last one is chlamydia. So those are your top 4 STIs that are particularly curable. So let's transition to the incurable STIs. So the first one is herpes. Second is HPV. It's one that's not really known, but also some nicknames that may be associated with HPV is genital warts. And last and not least is HIV. First thing, for the person who could potentially have the STI, one of the most important things that, first off, is knowing, do I have an STI? So the first step that's going to be needed done is you're going to probably need to go to your local health department or your doctor to get a STI test. One thing to be for sure is that you're probably going to have to ask for an additional for the herpes test as well as the trichomoniasis test to be conducted, because they're not in the normal rundown of tests that they look for when they conduct a routine STI. I went to your local health department and got your routine STI test conducted, and the results come back positive. I know. You're probably thinking, how did this happen? Am I a bad person? People are going to think I'm dirty. These are all common thoughts that come into a person's head. Society has stigmatized that people who contract STIs are dirty, they're promiscuous, and that they know that they have them, and so they're trying to trick people. So those are some of the most common misperceptions about people who have STIs, when likely majority of the people don't know that they have it. It isn't until something happens that that's when they find out. But there is a very small percentage that some people do know they have it and decide not to tell the person that they're sexually involved in. All right, the second portion, which is the relationship or sexual influence that the STI may have on a person. One of the first things that people need to do is to be honest with your partner. So if you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, multiple partners, whatever, you need to be honest with people, so therefore that can encourage them, 1, to get checked, and 2, you can take the necessary precautions, so therefore to prevent contracting it and transmitting it to other people. So how could this affect your sexual or your relationship? Let's think. One could be your partner may feel as though you were cheating, which could or could not be the case. It just kind of depends. A second thing could be is that your partner thinks that you're dirty, which is also, as we talked about, is a common misperception of people who have STIs. People automatically think they're dirty. You are not dirty. It's just a situation that kind of happened. Third could be, I don't know where I got it from. This is also a potential situation. Part of the video may be more so for those who, 1, is their first time ever having an STI, and 2, for those who may have one of the 3 of the incurable STIs, because it's more so something you're going to have to continue to work through long term. Upon finding out if you have an STI, whether it's curable or incurable, the first thing is you need to go to the doctor, because you need to try to get treated for it, so therefore you can have everything under control. Because when things go unnoticed, other things can happen. So how may this finding out that you have contracted this incurable STI affect one person? Well, they're common signs of having depression because they feel as though I cannot get over it. It's never going to go away. I'm stuck with it. When it comes to your sexual life, it may bring up some feelings that you maybe have never experienced before. You may feel more hesitant or insecure about your sexually transmitted infection. And one of the best ways to kind of calm that down and to decrease those feelings is, one, know what you have and know the common side effects and how it is transmitted, and two, potentially going to see a therapist. Therapist is a great way for someone who doesn't really know you, for you to be able to express yourself and for them to help you get through your situation. Now for the therapy portion. For a clinician that is seeing a client who just recently found out that they have contracted an STI, narrative approach, if they have long-term therapy, will potentially be the best. One, due to its strength-based. Two, help escape from the oppression, which is one thing, especially when we talk about the stigma that people who have contracted an STI have. And an interpretation of the experience that this person may be having due to finding out they have an STI. Talk about the cognitive beliefs and being able to deconstruct those thoughts and those behavioral scripts while in therapy. This approach is able for one to be able to freely talk about how this experience is impacting them, but also tying into some of those other systemic areas of life through to family, society, workplace, and all of this stuff, in a way to help them heal. One creative way, whether it is a male or a female, they could write a letter to their genital, whether if it's they found that they have herpes, and they would be able to write a letter to their labia explaining how they felt or what they're going to do in the future in order to have a connection with it, and just in case they have particularly disconnected from their genitals upon finding out this daunting information. And the same as if it was a male, he could write a letter to his penis or his anus or his scrotum as a way to freely express how he feels about finding out that him or a part of him is going to have to deal with this for the rest of their lives. But also how they actually see themselves. With this being news that can be detrimental to someone, it's going to be beneficial to talk about and process how that person feels. It's all about finding peace, but being also educated within this realm of life. This is why this video is so important to not just people between 15 and 24, but everybody needs to know this type of information, so therefore one can either continue to keep themselves healthy, but also know, if this were to happen to me, what are my options? How am I going to be able to get through this difficult time? The main thing is for you to be able to accept what you have, but then also feel as though you have the power to move on to something else.